Okay, so this is to review Chapter 4 when we're moving into the formalizing of the Hawaiian law. We talked about after Kauikeaoli Kamehameha III was threatened with French aggression. Remember, we talked about Captain Laplace coming because Catholics were being persecuted and they didn't like that. So the French come in and it's one more world power. Kamehameha reinforces to him that they need to reform the government to be sure they're protecting the rights of the people as well as the land and themselves. This was a long quote here, but it was a reminder from this British general that, you know, if the natives want to keep their own government, be their own government, keep the islands in their own hands, and if they don't want to be anxious about somebody coming in and dictating you know, to them how to run their own kingdom, their own government, then it seems absolutely necessary. And that's what this quote here says. It seems absolutely necessary that they should establish a defined form of government and a few fundamental laws that are going to afford security for property. And then he reminds them that commercial regulations as well, they serve for their own guidance as well as that of foreigners. So it needs to be something that they can all, whether you're foreign or native or a subject to the crown here in Honolulu, everybody can follow the same rules for business as well as the legal laws. So that's basically what this is saying, is they need to kind of formalize it and make the laws more uniform so that people who are coming will understand how to behave and how business is carried out here in the islands. So we talked about William Richards, and William Richards, what happened was because Kamehameha III, you know, was reminded again, he's got America that's here, he's got Great Britain that's here, and now the French have come, guns blazing, pointing the guns at them, saying, you're gonna do this. And then of course, you know, the British general saying, hey, you guys need to formalize your laws. So he turns to the people he relies on for guidance, which are religious advisors. And those religious advisors are the missionaries. And William Richards is associated with the missionaries. He's trusted. So Kamehameha III asks Mr. Richards, hey, can you go and find somebody who can come and teach the kings and the chiefs how to reform or reestablish our government? And so Mr. Richards goes and has a difficult time finding anybody to come. So he comes back, and Kamehameha III appoints him as an instructor. So he's the guy that's now going to be teaching the kings and the chiefs how to reform and reestablish the Hawaiian government. So Mr. Richards develops this curriculum based on Hawaiian translations of Professor Francis Whalen's 2 books. Now, Professor Francis Whalen was a professor, and he ultimately became president of Brown University, which is, you know, Ivy League school over on the East Coast. But Mr. Whalen wrote 2 books. He wrote The Elements of Moral Science and The Elements of Political Economy. Now, these 2 books are what Mr. William Richards taught. He based his teachings to Kamehameha III and the chiefs. He based it on these 2 books. So just like how I've taken Ua Mau Ke'ea, this book that we're using, and it's written for the college level, how I'm taking it and I'm creating a curriculum, creating lessons for you guys on Dr. Sai's work, that's what Mr. William Richards did with Francis Whalen's 2 books. And if we wanted to go back and try to understand the kingdom government, it would help us to take a look at Elements of Moral Science in 1835 and Elements of Political Economy, written in 1837, because these 2 books were used by Mr. Richards to teach the king and his chiefs about how they should reformat or reform the government here. Now, Mr. Richards sought to theorize governance from a foundation of natural rights, which we've talked about natural law, but a foundation of natural rights within an agrarian society based upon capitalism. And if you remember back to maybe September, October, you guys learned about capitalism, communism, and a mixed economy. So capitalism having to do with the people owning more businesses, and having the freedom to be private owners and to run their own business. That's the way we generate wealth. And with wealth comes freedom. So he seeks to theorize governance from a foundation of natural rights within an agrarian society, big words there, based upon capitalism that not only cooperative in nature, but also, and this is the key point, he's encouraging again this combination of government with religion, because he's saying it has to be morally grounded in Christian values. And again, it's another reminder, yeah, all throughout history, people were not separating religion from government. They were separating government from religion. Get government, keep government out of religion. But when you look back at these primary documents, they always encourage these Christian values in government. You have to be a moral people in order to govern yourselves. And you'll see more of that in the next couple of slides. So these are the things that Mr. Richards is sharing, teaching to King Kamehameha III and the chiefs. Okay, now here's another statement. I didn't have time to type this one up. So here's another statement. William Richards states in his translation of Wayland's books, this is a direct quote of Mr. William Richards. He says, peace and tranquility are not maintained when righteousness is not maintained. Meaning, you got to be a righteous people if you're going to have a peace and tranquil society. He tells them the righteousness of the chiefs and the people is only the basis for maintaining the laws of government. That laws should be enacted to maintain a society for the benefit of all and not the few. Okay, and this will make sense when you see this next part. He reminds them, God did not establish man as servants for the chiefs and as a means for the chiefs to get rich. God provided the occupation of government leaders in order to bless the people and so that the nation benefits. So again, when you see this statement, he's telling you laws should be enacted to maintain a society for the benefit of all and not the few. The few are the chiefs and the leaders. That's why he's reminding them here. It's not, no man was created to serve the chief or make the chief richer or the leader richer. God was, oh, hold on, sorry. He creates the occupation of government so that leaders can bless the people so that the nation benefits. And then we talked a little bit about Wayland's theory of cooperative capitalism, with private ownership of land and a free market as the foundation of political economy. This concept was difficult to implement because the kingdom was in a feudal state since the rule of Kamehameha I. We talked about in class the fact that what exactly a feudal state is, and we're going to learn more specifics on feudalism when we get to Europe, medieval Europe. But because the kingdom, and I'll have to draw for you, those of you that missed this presentation in class, I'll have to draw the diagram when you return so that you can understand what the feudal system was about. And the fact that nobody could hold land except for the top dude, right? The king or the emperor. They could hold the land, they could make, gain wealth, but the individuals could not. Same for this kingdom of Hawaii. The individuals could not hold land titles in the form of freehold titles, which is like fee simple and life estate. So I explained to everybody in class, and we'll have to review it at another time, the concept of ownership. Anytime you own something, you have an opportunity to generate wealth. And we drew a picture on the board, which I'll have to share with you when you come back. But for now, these are the slides we've covered over the last 2 days. And we had to go slow because, like I said, we talked in more greater detail. But so far, these notes you can definitely add to your notebook, because these will definitely be, this is what everyone has been taking notes on. Then the last one we've talked about, and there's only, I can't highlight it right now, but I will do it at another time. There's only a portion of this that I want you to know. Mainly it was that Mr. William Richards expected the governors and the konohiki, the land agents and the tax officers, to read this law frequently to the people. They didn't have Google, they didn't send an email. It wasn't like, hey, check your email to learn the laws. They had to verbally teach it and share it with the people often. So then he also reminds them, the man who, and it's about halfway through, I don't know if my pointer is going to show up. The man who does not labor enjoys little happiness. He cannot obtain any great good unless he strives for it with earnestness. He cannot make himself comfortable, not even preserve his life, unless he labor for it. If a man wish to become rich, he can do it in no way except to engage with energy in some business. Thus, kings obtain kingdoms by striving for them with energy. Now, this is also actually biblical. No man gets anything for free. We have to work. If he who wants to eat must work. So he's reminding the chief and the people and the king that everybody's got to work. And it's a reminder to the people, don't expect the government to be giving you everything. You can only obtain happiness through hard work and earnestness. And that, kings don't get kingdoms for free. Kamehameha didn't say, hey guys, you want to join me or what? Come, let's all get together and shake on it. He fought for it. He worked for it. It took years for him to accomplish that task of unifying the islands. And like that, everything that people want, they got to work for. Now, it's really up to the person. If the person wants to be rich, wants to generate a lot of wealth, they are perfectly capable of doing so in a capitalist society. However, it does take the morals and of Christian values to kind of balance that and check a person's greed. Because we've talked about the fact that, yes, in fact, human nature is generally greedy, and it's only through morals and values and through the teaching of religion that people tend to check that greed, and they do things because it's right. And that's where you hear the Hawaiians talk about pono and righteousness. So that's it for now. It's only about 7 or 8 slides that we've covered in the last 2 days, but I just wanted to make sure that you were brought up to date so far. I don't know how this is going to work. This is the first time I've done a video recording like this, so you'll have to let me know how it turns out. Okay? Thanks.